All right, back from Yugoloth Island. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to the Weekly Wednesday Lunchtime live stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I am Ddo's Community Manager, Cordovan, and I'm going to be with you for the next hour, hanging out, having some fun, celebrating Ddo's 16th anniversary, which, happened into February here. We're still celebrating, and we got a bunch of stuff going on. Because my cat chose to participate in the show this week, got a little cat cam going for as long as that goes on. And in honor of the 16th anniversary, I thought I would go brand crazy and wear my Turbine hoodie with my SSG Games SSG t-shirt and my WB Games mug. Cover the gamut, as it were. So there we are. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I really appreciate it. And hope you're doing pretty well. We do have a lot of cool things happening for our 16th anniversary, and so I'm going to have a little bit of that, and then I think we'll probably just kind of get started running the new quests over on Atlantis. I have a character in the right level range to run that on heroic, so I think we'll be doing that a little bit later on in the stream today. And yeah, I don't know. So there we are. Yeah, I can't really speak to the current state of previous companies and things like that. I mean, I've been working from home at COVID, so it's not like we're in the same kind of office complex or anything anymore. I don't really have any visibility, haven't for at least a few years now. Just kind of like seeing people in the halls and such. So I have no idea what's going on. Not like I ever really did, because people have to keep secrets and things for this industry, but I really have no idea what's going on because I've just been working from home, no longer seeing them in the office and such, right? They did just yesterday lift the mask mandate for our office complex that many of us have not really been in since March of 2019. And so it'll be pretty cool to kind of poke back in there and see what's going on. I don't actually expect us, though, to be heading back to the office anytime soon. I think I'm going to be here for a while, at least. By here, I mean working from home. I actually do have some news I can talk about a little bit, maybe later, in terms of some things I've got planned to do what needs to get done in the next couple of months here. But there we go. The cat, for those who are unaware, is named Lizzie. Full name is Miss Elizabeth Bennett. And she is an older kitty. I can't remember her age anymore, but something like 14, maybe. Can barely remember my own age. And she's a good kitty. So. All right. The Ddo Store Promotions for this past week mentions select shared storage. You cannot see anything in the store that matches that. What matches that select list? So, Yobs Soguth in Twitch chat, my guess would be that you already have the stuff that was on sale, and that's why it's not displaying for you. Generally, by select shared storage, that is just about, if not everything, up to the most recent stuff. So the past tier or couple of tiers maybe that we have most recently unlocked is typically not on sale for that sale, but everything else pretty much is to help get you caught up and such. All right. In general, when we use select in our weekly sales messaging, that is often the case that maybe we release something fairly recently that we just kind of can't put on sale yet for business reasons, or what have you. And so we'll do select, which is pretty much everything except for maybe the brand new thing. Usually how you can read select on our weekly sales, although I suppose, differences apply occasionally. All right. Any word on the empty treasure bags in Epic Whiz King? No. Although I did hear some chatter among the team this past week about a desire to someday maybe... The issue isn't that ultimately the issue is that these treasure bags should not be dropping. The issue is that the reason these treasure bags are ultimately empty is because they're not supposed to be there, and that's why there's nothing in them. And so I think the one likely solution would be to fix that so that they only drop where they're supposed to, or go through the process of adding them in all the places where they're currently dropping empty bags. And so that is kind of the thing that we got to weigh there. I suspect the public would appreciate being able to loot those bags. I bet the system team would appreciate not having to do all that whack-a-mole work for the next 6 months. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. What's with the cat? The cat was bothering me before going live on the air today, and then decided to sit in her maybe second favorite chair right next to my computer setup. So I figured let's do a cat cam today. It'll help. It's a PR move. That's what it is. Has anyone been dusting the office? I think there's been, the building has its own sort of maintenance schedule. I'm pretty sure that that's been going on. Has SSG been doing any kind of dusting? I don't think so, but we'll see. Is that CRT still working behind me? Yes, it is. Absolutely. The reason I haven't hooked it up is because I play retro video games through it. And I've actually got it set up so that I can route it into the computer as well. So, any news regarding the pre-order webpage for Isle of Dread? The only real news I could share is that we're working on it. I mean, work is actively underway on the part of our artists and promotional members and employees and things like that, right? So, work is underway, and we would expect to have probably some more information, in the pretty near future about more about that, but I don't think it's going to be like any day now. It's going to be a little while yet. But work is underway to get that propped up and staged and ready to go live. So that's sort of kind of what some people are doing right now. Will Isle of Dread have actual pre-orders like Menace of the Underdark did? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Matus. If you mean exclusive pre-purchase bonuses, probably not. The days of exclusive are bad for players, bad for business, bad for the company, bad for the game. So we tend not to do that anymore. But I would absolutely expect to see both a pre-purchase opportunity for Isle of Dread and lots of very cool things in the various bundles. So to that extent, I'm going to say I would expect Isle of Dread to look fairly similar to what we've been doing over the past 5 years or so. But total Isle of Dread themed. It's going to be kind of sweet, so... But in terms of, you have 30 days to buy this thing, and then no one else will ever get it in the future, and so then we deal with years and years and years of frustrated players and things like that. Probably not. Probably not. I think we've learned our lesson on that one. Is Lizzie... confirmation that Tabaxi is going to be coming to Lamania next week? Not next week, I don't think. But pretty darn soon, I think. So, yeah. So by pre-order, it'll be like the recent expansions where you buy it before launch and get, items XYZ, then the quest when it launches. Yeah, probably very similar to that. I would also expect to have a few items associated with the bundles available upon release of Isle of Dread rather than available right away. But we usually do try to have some things that are available for pre-purchase. Like, so as soon as you pre-order it, you can play something, see something, do something, and have some fun with your purchase. That's kind of the general idea of that sort of thing. And I would I'm pretty sure I know what we're going to be doing there too, but I can't quite announce it yet. So, can we have hireling folders on sale? I can definitely let the team know they would like that. You say after 2 to 5 years after that expansion's been out, you can add those exclusive items to the anniversary event. Unfortunately, you are not a lawyer, nor are you a member of European consumer law organizations. And it has been determined that when we do use items for like pre-purchase exclusive timeframes and thereby are required to give dates for said pre-purchase exclusivity, that is a legally binding contract by which we must abide. We can play around the margins a bit by, say, releasing a similar looking item, maybe largely something with the same kind of look but a different color, different name on top of that, things like that. But that exact item, like that Onyx Panther, like a few of the others that have happened over the years, it must remain exclusive if we choose to go that route, which is why we typically don't go that route anymore. So, yep. How is it the player Ddo Wiki has the new list for newest raid loot? I don't know if someone on the team passed a loot list to him or not. I mean, we're certainly not opposed to doing that, especially to help out the wiki, like, say, when a new raid launches or something like that. I personally didn't do that work, so I'm not quite sure where they got that info from. I have to assume Lamania. But if that's not the case, there have been times where maybe on Discord someone pings some dev or something and they just get it done, just to help out the wiki, right? But for the most part, I think they do the work themselves, and it's almost exclusively from Lamania. You're done with horses. You want to ride a dinosaur. Well, you are in for some luck, I think. So. Uh-oh. We've got movement. Yep. Okay. Alright. Okay. She heard me talking about the Onyx Panther. No other cats for you, she says. Alright. Hey, Chance, over on Facebook. Nice to see you. I can't say what's going to be coming with Isle of Dread yet. I would say that, what you think might probably certainly have to be an Isle of Dread probably will be. It's going to be good. Is the level cap rolling out with Isle of Dread? Gosh, yes, right? We announced that. I've been on vacation for half of last week, and all of a sudden my brain, I just forget everything. The Spider Cult Mask is another one. All right, I think I don't have the weekly bonus for you, so I can't really get into that, and I can... Oop, let me see, where's my camera? Yep, there we go. All right, there's the other camera. Let me move the beholder. And I was going to bring up the 16th anniversary page just to make sure that I do have the, dates available for everyone here. And make sure that everyone's aware, in case you missed it a couple weeks ago, we made a whole bunch of stuff free for DDO. And this is free permanently. The races, Gnome, Half-Elf, Half-Orc, Drow, Wood Elf, Dragonborn, Tiefling, the classes, Druid, Monk, and Warlock are just free. If you did purchase one of these, you will get a greater elixir of discovery for each of the races or classes that you owned prior to the release of Update 53 a few weeks ago. You're going to want to talk to Jubilee the Discoverer and the Eberron Hall of Heroes on the bottom floor to get yo stuff. And you can read more about it at Ddo.com 16th anniversary. Additionally, we are doing free gold rolls throughout 2022. So through December 31st, 2022, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, you're going to get your free daily gold rolls. And that is sweet too, if you're VIP. We have our party outfits available also through the end of the year. There's a genie outside of the anniversary dungeon in House Fjarlin, and will stick around after the anniversary event is over. Available through December 31st, and you can pick up one of 6 team outfits. They come in 6 colors. You can only pick up one a day, but you can pick up as many as you want, what have you. So you got all year to really just stock up on those and get, you know, anything from a couple to a couple dozen to a couple hundred, I guess, if you really want to. And then we do have our anniversary event running through March 20th. So that is still active here for the next couple of weeks. So I do want to make sure people check out that anniversary event. We have some new stuff in there and some new items, including like cosmetics associated with the new outfits that were given away. And we're bringing back things like the 15th anniversary commemorative cloak and the sentient jewel of the dragon. And that's, again, through March 20th. And so I did want to make sure that I brought that out, too. And then, you know, Update 53 is now almost, officially 2 weeks old or something like that. So I guess I don't need to remind you that Update 53 is out. But if you would like to, you can go to Ddo.com, find out more about Hunter and Hunted and the new raid. And find the release notes as well, because there's a whole bunch of stuff in the release notes. All right, I think I'm going to scroll through chat. I'm going to turn off this board. And then get in game here. There we are. And see how that's going. You missed a half dozen gold rolls because you didn't know someone forgot to shut down hardcore. Yeah, that happened. That happened. Not so much that someone forgot to shut it down as someone shut it down and then a different operation ended up accidentally kind of kicking it back on, I think. And it took us a little while to recognize that it was still on, but no real harm done, right? Because it's, you know, whatever. You can just... You get a couple free daily gold rolls. That's the extent of it. Yes, I'm on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube simultaneously for this show. Is there a better place to watch the show? It keeps lagging. No, that's my fault. Once again, I'm trying to kick it up to 1080p rather than 720p, and that was a mistake. Actually, you know, I guess I could take just a couple of quick minutes here before I go live in Quest to mention that I'm kind of working on shifting around some of what I do when in order to get some really necessary work that needs to get done here done in the next couple of months. So on the other game side, you know, we launched a new Lotro.com website. And Lotro had been in a position, you know, I think you could argue how well supported Ddo.com is, but I think the reality is I've tried to support it as well as I could over the years with some of the core features like release notes, making sure all the release notes always get on Ddo.com and such. And on the Lotro side, that wasn't always the case. And so when we did the new Lotro.com, we had to kind of look at the landscape and largely start fresh, relatively fresh. We were able to keep stuff from the last couple of years, and that's about it. But on the DDO side, you know, we have a much more extensive website to bring over for the new Ddo.com that we're working to bring out here in the near future. Maybe even as early as something like April, but we'll see. But what that means, though, is that there's hundreds of articles, thousands of images that need to be brought over into the new website. And that doesn't just happen, unfortunately. And I think we are unfortunately not able to automate the process. So I think what that's going to mean is me and Catch Recall and a couple other people are just going to have to do the raw work of potentially a couple hundred hours to populate the new Ddo.com in 2022 if we want to actually bring all those old release notes and everything dating back to the game's start to the new website. And I'm going to speak for you because I'm speaking for myself here and saying that, yeah, we do need that. I don't want to lose that stuff. So, I mean, we're going to lose a lot of the beacons or the chronicles or what have you because they're not that relevant. But like the screenshots, the release notes, some guides, articles, things like that, right? We need to keep that stuff. That's a huge task. So one of the things I've been kind of trying to work out in recent weeks in particular is how to fit all that into a schedule that doesn't really have the time normally set aside for that kind of thing. I mean, I know sometimes people like to kind of sling tomatoes at me on the forums and websites and things about how I'm lazy or I barely work or I spend all day just kind of moderating the forums, but that's not actually true. I assume most people know that that's not actually true. In fact, I actually do have a full 40 hours worth of duties plus that I tend to put in every week, and that's just how it rolls when you're a CM. A lot of which you do is not visible to the public, but everything else you do pretty much is. And so you kind of get into that place where people judge you based on what they see, not what you're actually doing. But the reality is I got a full schedule. We got to figure out how we're going to make this new Ddo.com kick butt, right? So I think what I'm going to be doing is shuffling around a little bit of the work I do on a short-term basis a bit. And I'll have more about that. But I think, like, for example, I might pre-record a few streams or maybe rather than go live stream route, go more of a produced video route, something like that. I don't know exactly how it's all going to work out, but I do know that we have some just kind of extra stuff that needs to get done here in 2022 to put us on a real firm foundation for growth of our website beyond. And honestly, that is my job to make sure that this works okay. So I need to kind of reprioritize a little bit, I think, in the next couple of months to get that done. And so that probably does mean a fewer live streams, but I'll have more about that. I think as I sort of more fully solidify my plans and sort of talk to people inside of the office to make sure we're capturing everything we need to do and all that sort of thing. But I did just kind of want to give a heads up that I actually am planning to maybe make a few adjustments to the stream schedule here in the coming weeks, and I'll probably have a little bit more about that as we get closer to it. Part of the impetus of that as well, and part of the reason I'm bringing this up based on the question of the stream lagging, is that I don't know what has changed. It has been one of the most frustrating things for me personally in the past, I guess, let's say 6 months now, where my computer doesn't suck. I paid about $1,400 for it 5 years ago. 5 years ago is a long time now, isn't it? But in general, my computer is still up to spec. I have a 1060 graphics card in there. That's probably the weakest point. But I do have like 32 gigs of RAM, a quad core, I believe something in the range of 3.2 gigahertz or whatever. It generally okay specs. But something is up. And I've been streaming from home since, the COVID thing happened in 2019. And when I started streaming from home, I was able to do 1920 by 1080, 30 frames a second to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch without any real major issues. The issues were not related to bandwidth or technical performance. But something changed in the past 6 months where I have been so frustrated, kind of week after week, trying to figure out how to optimize my PC. I've killed all the programs in the background. I mean, I've checked my bandwidth and bitrate settings. I've done all sorts of things, and I'm just not able to pull off the quality stream that I was even able to do a year ago. And I don't know what the difference is exactly, but it has in part led me to think that, well, if trying to stream it live to 3 platforms is ultimately the issue, do you actually need to do it live to the 3 platforms? Or could I put together like a Q&A style news segment and upload it and then eliminate a lot of the frustrations both on the part of the watching public and myself? And so I am taking a look at that as a possibility here. I don't want to stop streaming exactly. I mean, I'm definitely going to be streaming at least a little bit and doing some things like that. But I think the reality is I have been beating my head against this problem for 6 months, and buying a new computer is not going to be happening. So I think that might be the way forward. But we're going to kind of have to. I'm going to have to think it through a little bit more there. So. Yeah, I mean, at JCom, I appreciate the suggestions. I've done all that stuff, like the trying to clean up my caches and set my temporary files to a different. I've done all that. I've had months to work on all that, and the reality is what I was able to do 1 year ago today, I simply cannot do today. And now I think there is the reality that computers, the general world of computing, it gets more and more requirement-y over time as things bloat and people take advantage of the newest stuff. So maybe I shouldn't have the expectation that, say, XSplit is going to perform as well today as it did last year. But I feel like it should. And I don't think XSplit's the problem either, because I've tried OBS. I've also looked at my home bandwidth, and I do have a solid, it's not amazing, but I've got a solid about 10 to 15 megabytes up. It doesn't dip below 10, it doesn't tend to go above 15, but it's solid 10 to 15 megabyte a second up. And so when I've got the 3 channels set to approximately 33,000 CBR, I've still got a couple megabytes of room for, say, like the game and other things. Bandwidth could still be the problem, but, someone is saying in chat I'm an influencer, but unfortunately I'm not enough of an influencer to convince my local cable conglomerate to install better internet to my house. So I don't know. There you go. So anyway, it's sorry to kind of go off on a side tangent here, but it has been something that's been on my mind for a while, and it's something I think I'm going to be talking a little bit more about in the community here in the coming weeks as I sort of try to solve some of these problems and do the best job I can. All right, so to get started here on the new quest for Update 53, you're going to go into the Hut from Beyond that's in the harbor, and you'll speak to Arwen Richleaf, who will greet you as an envoy of the Wild Hunt. Say, yo, you want to be a part? The master of the hunt himself sent me here to greet you. You can find us in the court of the Wild Hunt in the Feywild. And then go there. I mean, I don't know if they know that Mock Duck's a vegetarian. Are they aware of this? It is a hunting thing. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't hunt if you're a vegetarian. I've actually known a few people who have done it. This is sort of Minnesota culture or whatever. But in a philosophy of anything you take responsibility for, you can consume, right? Okay, whatever. I'm not getting political. But I'm a vegetarian. I don't think Mock Duck's taken part in any wild hunt. But I'm going to do it anyway for you. If I can figure out where I put my... Why am I not getting my name? Oh, I know why. That's why. Quick just note on the build I'm playing. This is a T-Yard character. I am playing through simply for fun, simply because I like it aesthetically. I'm checking out a Horizon Walker, Ranger Rogue, Rut Rogue, and I'm a Wood Elf. I think I may have turned the volume down a little bit. Let me turn it back up just a smidge for you. With the new free classes, might one of these be the base for the new Tabaxi Iconic? I don't think so. I am pretty positive that the Tabaxi is, like, fully its own rig. Like, complete, like, not based on any other rig, but basically its own rig. I could be wrong about that. I'm not doing the animation work, but that was my understanding, is that the Tabaxi is its own thing, including its own work to make it happen. That is my kitty, Miss Elizabeth Bennett. We're on Jerry's Only Cats channel. VCS stream when? Funny you mentioned that. There was a time where I was actually going to be, as part of my investigation into, like, trying to eke out a successful quality live stream here. One of the things I've actually been exploring is running DDO through the Atari VCS using my Elgato HD60 into the PC to see if that takes out some of the kind of weight of what I'm asking this PC to do and see if it works better. Unfortunately, I have to admit that the VCS is not running DDO particularly well. It has the same DX9 thing that pretty much any Windows PC has, right? But in particular, there's something to do with its hardware configuration, which is causing a crashing issue on load screens consistently. And that has been a real bummer as someone who really, really, really wants to be able to play it. His toy. But the reality is I haven't quite been able to get it running yet. I have had it running, actually, for a while. I ran a full quest and got some video and stuff. But it wasn't quite up to what I wanted. I was able to get the graphics at very high, but no anti-aliasing. As soon as, for some reason, I kicked on anti-aliasing, the thing just dumped to desktop. And I haven't been able to solve that conundrum yet. And I don't really want to stream without anti-aliasing up. Because, you know, these flowers ain't going to look so pretty if they ain't anti-aliasing. And I care about pretty. But I do have it running on that. I do have it running. Just not particularly well or consistently. And so that's why I haven't quite done the DDO VCS stream, like getting it to run on there that I had kind of talked about maybe doing as like an extra credit thing for those who might be interested. So far, at least the answer is not recommended, unfortunately. And I would point out that the other game, because I have been trying to do this for both games, the other game won't even start. So, you know, that's a thing. I think the issue, so for those who don't know, and I guess I could talk a little bit about it just since I'm talking and questing and getting all nerdy with it. That particular device I'm talking about is a console PC hybrid, a sort of attempt at doing something, you know, bringing Atari back, that came out in June of last year. And what it is a mini PC that is currently, it's like its retail price is about $400 with a couple of controllers included. You can get it like $300 just by itself, and right now it's been, well, I don't know if right now. Of late, there have been opportunities to purchase it for much lower than that. And so, you know, it's kind of like a possibility for those who I thought as a fairly inexpensive, stylish mini PC to just kind of get a quick DDO build on, or kind of a second build, or maybe just a budget build, right? If it runs DDO fine and that's all you really want it for, then hey, maybe that's an option for you, $250 or something, right? So, that's what it is. And because I am such a Atari nerd, for those who don't know, I am an actual Atari collector of minor note. And so I was interested in because of that, but because of my history with DDO, and because the thing essentially boots into Windows, it runs on 2 operating systems. It's essentially split, right? So you turn it on like a console and it goes into Atari's thing where you can buy and play Atari games and what have you. But you plug in a USB SSD with Windows on it, or Linux on it, or Batacera, or I don't know, whatever else. And it just boots that using the same kind of PC in a box specs that the thing has. I would note that those PC in a box specs do have an integrated, embedded CPU and GPU. So you are going to get limited performance due to having an embedded CPU and GPU rather than, say, a dedicated graphics card, which the device does not have. So there's that. But, you know, ultimately DDO runs, it really is fairly low spec for 2022, and it'll run a whole lot of stuff, including apparently this console hybrid, with some issues that I'm still trying to work out. But that's really the history of that, is because I am one of the biggest nerds in the history of Ataridom. Maybe I'm not that bad. Maybe I am, though.
You step into this circle and reappear in a clearing with a winding river. You spy a stone relief of a nymph on the
Clearly I was someone who was going to be checking DDO out on this thing. Alright, wow, I am not prepared for this quest. Right. I'm gonna have to find some levers here, I guess. Yob Sugith wants to know basically, what about getting some of our corporate partners to promote us? That is some stuff that we've been talking about with some of our licensors. You know, not that they aren't doing that, but new opportunities in the coming months to sort of collaborate on a few things, and you know, hey, if you can you retweet us, that kind of stuff, right? That'll be happening, I think. We've been, you know, we meet with them on the regular and talk about that kind of thing, and take advantage of opportunities when we can. And we do have a plan to address a few kind of things that have been bugging a few people. I know, like we're going to get them some new assets, I think, for a web page they've got, you know, a few minor things like that. So should be pretty cool overall. There's nothing down here, is there? No. There? Well, I am going to have to find my way to these different things. So I already came from... Where did I come from? Came from the Mushroom Forest. So I'm going to have to go back. And this time around, I will pick... Which one have I not been yet? Get back. Or yes, I have. Okay. Let me explore this a bit more, though. Maybe there's something I missed. I should note that, you know, I I did kind of recently just chat with you a bit about some of the challenges that I've been having to sort of circumnavigate in recent weeks, and part of those challenges has been available time to do anything other than get some stuff done that needed to get done. So I have not had an opportunity to play much of any video games other than a couple of late night personal streams in a couple of weeks, which means I haven't actually run this quest yet. That's since it was in kind of an early development state, and that's bad Cordo. But that's the reality. I've just been too busy. My life has not permitted time for such luxury. It's one of those things, I guess, it's... Maybe people throw it around too much in the games industry a bit, but I think it's also true that one of the hardest things to do when you work in the games industry is play video games. You don't have time. You don't get time. There's no time. Yeah. Okay. This surely can't be, can it? Unless I've missed something along the way. Here. Was there a side path, though? I don't think so, right? This is just the one path, so I must be... I just have to go back and find a different route, I'm guessing. This is just the quest entrance, right? Yeah, this is the quest entrance, so there we go. Last time I was able to play video games of any time commitment was for the anniversary. That anniversary live stream, in fact. That was the last time I had more than a couple minutes before bed to do just about anything, so... I am not sure misting 50 liters or whatever. You're saying something about a donut ad? I'm not catching the donut ad, chat. I don't understand what you mean. I don't get it. What's up? Are you seeing a donut ad on Twitch or something? There should be no advertising happening on Twitch. Outside of maybe whatever Twitch is just going to make everyone do. Like, we don't monetize, so this channel is totally not monetized by us. Alright. At JCom, for my earlier comment about people slinging tomatoes, you say tomatoes, question marks? Yes. I chose to use the word tomatoes rather than some other words that could be used about the kind of things that get slung my way as a community manager. Deliberate verbal choice there. For the family-friendly nature of said show. Formatting drives. That is something I have considered. That is something I've considered. And as a matter of fact, one of the things I did test is I swapped installing DDO from my mechanical drive to my SSD. It had been on the SSD. I filled up the SSD. I moved it over to the mechanical drive. Blah, blah, blah. That didn't make a difference. I thought that was it. At first, I thought that was it. I was like, it's probably just because I swapped it to the mechanical drive, and that's why DDO is running like garbage on my rig right now when I'm streaming. None of this happens when I'm not streaming. It's all about the usage of trying to do all this at once. Do I want to go to the Riverlands, or do I want to go to the other? I don't think I've been here yet, so let's do this. Go underground. So maybe I could go through the defrag process on that, but I do have an SSD, and those don't really need to be formatted, do they? That was my understanding. That was kind of the point of them, wasn't it? You know, ultimately one solution might be to go back to the office for these live streams. And the reason why that would be a solution is because in the live stream room, we essentially have as close to an unlimited bandwidth operation as we can. We kind of have a direct channel for like a specific Ethernet port in that stream room that can basically take about as much as is available. And what's available in a corporate office complex like that is much different than what I'm going to have on my home internet. So it is true that I think one possible long-term solution would be just to start driving back to the office every Wednesday and Friday and do it that way. That's something I might end up actually doing here long-term, but that's not going to be happening short-term. So again, kind of short-term, I'm kind of rethinking how best to present this information and get it done, both in terms of the amount of time it takes me to do it, and then also just in terms of having the best experience for everyone. I don't like it when I see lag. It is so painful for me when I watch these YouTube videos and stuff afterwards and see myself kind of framing around a little bit. Because I'm not seeing that on my own personal rig. It's like my DDO client, when I'm playing DDO for this live stream, it is not doing that. It's only at the end product, as is presented to people on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, that it gets all framey and stuff. Could be the hard disk drive burning out. That has occurred to me, unfortunately. I hope that's not it. But yes, that has occurred to me. Can I climb up this? Climb up this. No. Don't want to help me out? Anyone know where I'm supposed to be going? I already hit this lever, so that's covered. And even though it kind of looks like on the map there may be other paths, I'm not seeing a way really to get up to them if this isn't a ladder. No, that's the edge. That's the edge. All right. Am I from Minnesota? Yeah, basically. Basically, I'm an old Minnesotan at heart. I was technically born in Rhode Island, and then about the age of 9, my family moved to Minnesota, southern Minnesota, rural southern Minnesota, and I basically grew up there. And then when I was on my own for quite a while, I was in the Midwest, whether that was Wisconsin, Iowa, Indiana. God. I'm gonna say going back to the Royal Garden.
Now, you find yourself somewhere that resembles the
Say
manicured
back.
garden
I don't think
of
I've been here yet.
A
Okay.
stone relief of a moon adorns the opposite hedge wall.
Guess this is what I needed to do. In fact, the computer, my home computer, is actually somewhat quite a bit better than the streaming computer that I have at the office. The streaming computer is okay, but it's kind of sort of the sort of computer you'd buy if you needed to buy 100 computers for an office, rather than, say, something you would buy if, you know, you're trying to build a rig for yourself to meet a streaming purpose. It's okay, it gets the job done. But it's pretty basic. It's good enough though. It's good enough to get to stream DDO without any major issue. So that's cool. And that plus the bandwidth is enough, I think, to get the job done. Although I say that, you know, and in the same way that this home computer is not performing nearly as well as it did 2 years ago. I haven't been in the office in 2 years either. Not really. So it could well be that that computer's going to have the same problems, you know? And I just don't know it yet because I'm not using it. What's this doing here? Okay. I guess we'll see.
A wood road has taken up residence in this
Uh-oh.
As you approach, aim
Get my
its heavy arms.
hired help over here. All right. All right.
As you pull this lever, you can somehow sense a door yawning open in the distance.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there are questions about, you know, hey, we're working from home and we're what kind of, some of us are using home PCs, some of us are using not home PCs. You know, there is like a whole bunch of stuff that you just have to kind of sort through as part of life and times we live in. Who knows what we're going to end up with? Maybe I will get a new work PC someday, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. And I don't think my internet's going to suddenly get better. I've looked. I've got 10/100 internet is what it's called. Well, they call it 100 megabyte internet, but in reality it's 10/100 megabyte. So you have about 10 megabytes up, 100 down. It's great for download speed. Maybe not quite so good if you're trying to stream to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at the same time. I'm close. I mean, that's the weird thing is like it was working. So
You stumble into a strange place, very unlike the forest.
Ooh.
A menacing figure looms over the room, attended by two Eladrin.
Rosette. Hi, Rosette. Alright, well, a puzzle, huh? I don't know if I've got 4 minutes here. I want to go through chat. I don't think I got time for a puzzle. So I think this probably will be the end of the stream here, unless I can just suddenly figure this out. Okay, so is this going to be one of those just basic rotational ones? Of course, I've got a hireling active. Not a good decision. Either I did it, or I did the opposite of doing it. What did I do? Okay, I must have done the opposite of doing it. Okay, so. That one, two. In order to get this off, this one's definitely going to have to get hit to dark. It'll light up when I hit the other one. That'll go dark. That'll go dark. So if I hit this one, that one, that one. There we are. Hey, I did get it done. Well, that's pretty groovy, I think. Or did I not? Yeah, I did. Why did that not work, though? Oh, there's the chest. Okay. No! I guess that's what I get for trusting a cow.
Nods in approval and wordlessly signals for one of her attendants to summon your well-earned reward.
All right, let me take a quick look through chat.
You can somehow sense a door yawning open in the distance.
Folks who don't sub to a channel, which we can't here, or pay for Twitch Turbo, get ads during streams. That's true, although my understanding is it shouldn't be during streams, but only pre-post roll. Is that not true? Alright. Why are we getting so many hybrid weapons, aka for both casters and melee? Well, I mean, I think that's somewhat of a subjective comment in terms of, are we actually getting more caster items by number than we've had previously? But I would think that one motivator would be trying to make sure we're responding to the current meta, the current wishes of the players, looking ahead to other things, you know, all sorts of reasons to make those items. Now, if what you're saying is you're not finding any value from those items for you think the builds that they would be supported for, that's certainly some good feedback and something we can take a look at long term. But I think in terms of the why, it's really just trying to address player demand as much as anything. When there's a desire for that kind of item, and when there's not a desire for that kind of item, we hopefully should not be doing it. So wherever we fall on that spectrum now, if we're not aligned to the reality of it, then that's just some general kind of loot dev work that'll need to get done. It could be something out of my control, more people in the neighborhood using the same internet provider, thus slowing me down. That is actually my current thinking is what's going on, is that with all the other people working from home, that it's simply a matter of traffic to the internet node that's kind of chugging things up for me. But I have no real way to know that, and it does still seem like I'm getting a consistent 10 up, so I don't really see why I would be running into that. Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, George Fire. That maybe, someone who has done ISP tech support, 10 megabytes up is not really suitable for proper streaming anymore. That may just be the case, but that's what I got. So I don't know. I guess that means that I'd have to cut one of the channels or something. I don't want to do that. Yeah. We have some puzzles that do have reset buttons. The floor tile puzzles typically are not those. Or the floor light puzzles, I guess I should say, are not those. I typically, someone is asking me if we're okay with using some kind of app I'm not familiar with. In general, we cannot issue rulings on player kind of apps. We don't clear community apps for effectiveness and appropriateness. We will, however, respond if we need to, based on code of conduct or terms of service violations. So as long as the app is not doing those, as long as you're following the rules, it's probably fine. And if it's not, then it isn't. And that's the only advice I can give. I actually am, I think, a little familiar. I am familiar with that app now that I'm looking at it. But I can't talk about that. I cannot offer a ruling. It would not be appropriate. Task Manager would show if something's hogging my CPU and RAM. Yeah, it is. I am also running into a CPU issue. But that's part of what's got me flabbergasted is, what the heck? Why was I not a year ago in Hampton? Yes, we do have a sale going on for the expansions in the Ddo market right now as well. I think the Ddo market might be slightly... we were doing some maintenance until 1 o'clock, and it's now 1:04. But it means that I think the Ddo market is up, but if it's not up, then it'll be up in like an hour. And yes, it's on sale. You love the Atari VCS and Ddo. Great to hear my thoughts on both, Lord Akazawa. Well, that's exciting. Like I say, I got DDR running accept, and I'm hoping to solve that accept. I will say that I did have to do the DX9 thing. And what that means is I had to go to Microsoft's website, download not the web installer, but the actual DirectX 9 runtime environment from 2010, that one, and run that before I booted up DDO. And then it booted up fine. A game dev shouldn't be using a 1080. Well, great. I look forward to receiving this new video card from you, since they're so cheap and easy to find right now. All right. Let me scroll through Facebook real quick before I quit. Every time I pull a switch, a white dot will appear to indicate a new direction. Oh, that's cool to know. Good advice, Sean. Thank you. I don't recommend a specific server for a brand new player. I think we have many options for great servers, and I would just go to the forums and poke around a bit. Look at some of the server forums, see if any of them are particularly interesting to you. Maybe watch some YouTube videos or such, see if there's any servers that work. But in my experience, while each of the servers kind of have a little bit of their own flavor and personality and what have you, they're also more alike than not. So I don't know that there's a specific server that I would recommend over any others. Really, I would point out that Wayfinder is a very low population server. So that would be where you would want to go if you wanted a very low population server, but otherwise maybe not that. But then, like I say, it's around because there are people who like it too. So, is my OS on the SSD? Yes, it is. Any chance of seeing Raceland in DDO? Gosh, that would be sweet. Probably not. I have no idea. I know Dragonlance is a particularly complex, as I understand it, kind of licensing situation, but I have no idea. What about Starlink? I have thought about that. If I've thought about it, I don't know. My understanding is it still has satellite delay, but maybe I'm wrong about that. All right, I think. Did I say it was in Minnesota? Oh, well, currently I'm not in Minnesota. I'm in Massachusetts where SSG operates, but I grew up there. You're essentially Canadian, lol. You know, Minnesotans will agree with you there. We will. Yep. We'll be like, yeah. Yeah, our buddy's up to the north. You know what it's like. Cold winters and trying to scrape off your car, don't you know? Stinking ice scraper just scrapes up your fingers as much as it scrapes up the glass. All right. Thanks for watching the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I'll be back next week with more. And until then, have fun.